Hello mga boss, this is BossTL again. And today what we have is a gorgeous modern retro looking bike from KTM BGC, the Husqvarna 401 Vitpilen. And without further ado, let's start this bike review. So last time we had the opportunity to test out one of their other bikes, the 401 Svartpilen, and during the short time we had the bike, we were actually surprised by its performance. This time around, KTM BGC was kind enough to lend us their Cafe Racer 401 Vitpilen for us to actually use for a longer period of time. So yan yung magiging unit natin for 3 days, no? 3.5, including today. So we got ourselves a demo unit from KTM BGC. So we previously had the Svartpilen and we were able to test it for a very short time. Then we got this offer from KTM BGC to test this bike for a few days para mas comprehensive daw yung magiging test natin. We are thanking KTM BGC for that offer and we're taking that offer as well. So kudos to KTM BGC. Thank you very much for entrusting this bike to us. Alright? The Vitpilen is one of two retro-modern Husqvarna bikes introduced by KTM here in the Philippines, called the Pilen bikes. Interestingly, they are the classic-looking counterparts of the KTM's best-selling bikes, the Duke and RC bike models, with both bikes sharing almost everything from the treadless frame, engine, and suspension, with obvious differences mostly in the outer aesthetics, with the Husqvarna bikes going for the retro feel, hence the classic design of the bikes. And just like with the KTM where the Duke is the street bike while the RC goes for the sports bike genes, the Husqvarna bikes are differentiated into two categories, one being the Scrambler and the other one going for the Cafe Racer category. And the Vitpilen takes after the Cafe Racer gene, the old school version sports bike of the old days. The Vitpilen is powered by a 373cc single-cylinder, fuel-injected, 4-stroke, double overhead cam engine that produces a respectable 44 horsepower and 37 Nm of torque. If the engine specs are suspiciously quite familiar, that is because this is the same engine that drives the KTM Duke 390, the RC 390, the KTM 390 Adventure, and even its other brother, the 401 Svartpilen. Although all these bikes share the same engine, it must be said that each bike has their respective engines tuned differently. The Euro 5 compliant Vitpilen has a very different power delivery as compared to its KTM counterparts, and it is very noticeable for someone who frequently drives a KTM 390 bike. While both KTM and Husqvarna have the same power and torque ratings, the Vitpilen is missing the characteristically punchy acceleration that the KTM 390 has. So if you're the type who is used to driving a Ninja 400, the acceleration of this bike is very close to it. See, the power delivery is linear, but there's a kick at the end of the RPM range. So around 6,000 RPM, dun mo mararamdaman yung torquiness nito. While it may be somehow disappointing for an existing KTM 390 user, it is definitely advantageous to a newbie rider who can expect a more linear power delivery from this bike without that sudden punchy acceleration that the KTM 390 is known for. And by the way, the electronic fuel injection is already operated by a ride-by-wire system, which should deliver a more controlled and refined power from the engine. The engine is mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox, 1 down, 5 up, with the neutral a bit hard to find in some instances. Shifting gears are precise but sometimes tend to be a bit clunky. It is equipped with a slipper clutch to prevent rear tire lockups on sudden downshifts. A great safety feature, if I may say so, which would make it easier for riders to adapt to corners without worrying too much of spills caused by unintended rear tire lockups when downshifting. And for added convenience, the gearbox is linked to an easy shift sensor, or better known as quick shifter. This is to allow the riders to make seamless up and down shifts without the use of the clutch. Svartpilen and Vitpilen both have a quick shifter upon release from the casa. So sample of this is I'm currently on second gear. I would upshift, third gear, fourth gear, and downshift as well from fourth to third, then to second. For such a price point, having a quick shifter is definitely a plus for this bike, which is normally often found to higher specs bikes of today. Stopping power is provided by hydraulic vibra disc brakes, 320 mm up front and 230 mm at the back, both with dual channel Bosch ABS. With the hunch over riding position that the driver assumes when riding this bike, it cannot be helped that you sometimes have this feeling of flipping over when you brake hard with this bike, and the bike's stopping power do really get you in that predicament quite often. Oops! Tangin, ang lakas ng preno nito. Suspension is advanced WP Apex 43mm non-adjustable inverted telescopic fork at the front and a preload adjustable single monoshock at the back. I do feel the bike handles the usual bumps on the road quite well with its rather soft suspension. However, the ride still feels a bit stiff and hard on the butt on long durations of riding this bike. So after driving it, I would probably say the suspension is quite soft. It is the seat that is hard. Kaya parang pakiramdam mo stiff yung suspension. By the way, the slim and high seating position of this bike is similar to enduro bikes, influenced by large by Husqvarna's legacy as a well-known motocross brand, and thus got incorporated into the design of the Vitpilen. The seat height is relatively high at 835 mm, making it a bit of a challenge for shorter people. Yet a ground clearance of only 170 mm, mainly due to the exhaust pipe running below the engine. The seat height is one of the main concerns of would-be buyers of this bike. The seat is definitely quite higher than the Duke 390, quite higher than most bikes that I've ridden. I'm 5'10" in height and I'm still tiptoeing, just standing on the bike while holding the handlebar maneuvering through traffic. Your legs are a bit spread out. Medyo alanganin yung tayo. You are tiptoeing through traffic. Hence, the latest releases of the Vitpilen were lowered by a few centimeters. This addressed the seat height issue but aggravated the problem of the small ground clearance. What keeps the Vitpilen rolling are the 17-inch cast alloy wheels wrapped in Mazda Sportex Street M5 with 110/70 at the front and 150/60 at the rear. Very same set of tires found on those Duke and RC390s as well. While we do believe that the anodized spoke wheels would definitely make the bike more appealing and give the bike that overall retro look, cast alloy wheels were chosen by KTM in consideration of the road conditions here in the Philippines. The Vitpilen is a sleek and smart street bike which effectively combines the minimalist aesthetics of the classic-looking motorcycles with modern technologies. And nothing makes it more retro than a good-looking round headlight with a Vitpilen boasting of a very modern all-LED headlights without giving away that classic look. It uses the latest LED technology and effectively incorporated them into the retro design of the bike. The instrument panel is same as that of the Svartpilen, round and monochromatic LED display, but unlike the complaint I have with the Svartpilen, the gauges seem to work fine with the Vitpilen. When I was testing out the Svartpilen before, the issue I had with the gauge panel, under direct sunlight, this gauge panel is very hard to see. Sa Svartpilen kasi, since you're seated upright, the gauge panel is somewhat tilted sa line of view mo. But with this one, it is directly in your face. So I have no issues reading the gauge panel under direct sunlight. The bike also comes with a tail tidy already, with a factory installed splash guard attached to the rear swing arm. Unfortunately, such would prevent the bike from being lifted in a paddock stand through swing arm spools, as the bolt holes to be used by the spools were already utilized in installing the splash guard. The clip-on handlebars are designed seamlessly to match the minimalist design of the bike, giving that aggressive stance that the bike is known for. The one thing that would have completed the retro look of the bike is the bar end side mirrors, which would have been a better choice than the large round side mirrors that come stock with the bike. The Vitpilen's turning radius is a bit wide due to the clip-on handlebars and won't be able to take a U-turn in a narrow straight in one single turn. And it can barely turn in one full turn. So medyo bitin. The turning radius is ample. Makakasingit naman. With this big bike, you could actually weave through traffic as long as there are ample space. Ingat-ingat lang sa side mirrors. Both side mirrors medyo mataas kasi. To go with the look of this bike, I would probably put in some bar end mirrors instead of these big round side mirrors that come stock with this bike. What this bike loves are open roads where you can accelerate the bike freely. While this bike is very tiring on city traffic, but this definitely holds its ground on roads like this, yung mga twisties. The riding stance definitely helps. It helps you lean more easily. Definitely you could feel the difference between this and the Svartpilen. The gas tank capacity is about 9.5 liters only, and with an average of around 25 to 28 kilometers per liter, it wouldn't really let you ride that far in one full tank of gas. So you really have to be mindful and plan your trips ahead for stopovers, especially in the expressways. The upside to that, it is almost expected to get quite a number of eyes staring at your bikes in each stop, whether it is in a stoplight, traffic, or even in your streets. Okay ba? So yun mga boss, so I had my review of the Vitpilen. So having tested both Vitpilen and Svartpilen, so given if I have the choice to select either of the two, which one would I be picking? The scrambler type Svartpilen or the cafe racer Vitpilen? Actually, it depends on the purpose of you buying this bike. So if I intend to use the bike as a daily commuter, definitely I would rather choose the Svartpilen. Again, if I would be buying the bike for a weekend toy bike, then this Vitpilen would be on top of your list. But then again, every one of us has their own priorities in life, right? So just buy whatever you feel that is right for you. Right? So that will be all, folks. I guess I'll end my vlog here. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and share. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe to BossTL PH and click that notification bell to be notified of our new uploads. Alright, so as I always say, stay awesome, stay safe, see you in the next episode. Bye for now!